a free ticket to like a Rangers game or something. And so I was actually, I was chosen as one of them. And I don't know, I don't remember who they were playing. I wasn't really paying attention. And we went to a Rangers game. That day, there was some kind of storm system that was in our area, and this was in the old Ranger Stadium,
Not
the
the
new
dome,
one.
not the dome.
No, not the dome. It was where they play UFL games now.
Yeah.
I just
Log Life
remember.
Park.
I just remember I was actually somebody was holding me, and this gust of wind, because it was raining really hard. This gust of wind just came out of nowhere from like the entryway to where you go sit in your seats. This huge gust of rain and wind just came to everybody in the stadium. It blew everybody sideways. It was crazy.
Dude,
I was like, what the heck?
If you are a baseball player,
Yeah.
and you're hitting, if the wind is blowing out, that it's going to be a fun game hitting the baseball.
Well, but this was like a 40 mile per hour wind.
Shoot, well, I'm hitting home runs with that wind. Yeah, I don't even.
Bro,
I'm just gonna throw my hands at it and it's over the fence.
And welcome to Talking Ball with yours truly, Drew and Ethan, on this special edition.
You beat me to it today.
I did beat you to it.
It's just.
You're welcome.
Unfortunate.
We were just talking about
for the second episode in a row.
While we were off on air, we were talking about how I guess this can be the first topic, but how should parents be involved with NIL with student athletes in colleges? And I was kind of going on a rant about this is money is what is really obviously there's pros and cons to the transfer portal and NIL, but when it comes to money and just the arrogance that comes with it, because you told me about that Baylor basketball player, and he and his parents are trying to get him more money. Yeah,
a deal in the millions with Baylor to stay, and we're gonna build around him for the future. And out of sort of nowhere, really, while I'm in my U.S. government class, I have to go to the bathroom real quick. I take my phone, obviously, and I pull up Instagram, and I see that he was entering the portal. Why? I didn't know, but now I know sort of the full story to this whole thing.
Well, here's the thing about that situation, and I think that it goes for every situation like this mainly. I get that sometimes things might not work out, or maybe just your plans change, or maybe you and your family feel like there's something maybe better out there for whether that's academics. Because remember, you're not just an athlete; you're a student athlete. You're a student first. You're there to get an education, because you're not going to be playing basketball for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
So, I get that. Maybe try and get a better education somewhere. I get that. Family stuff, but trying to get paid more. This is where NIL and the transfer portal have really screwed it up. In all sports, not just football, but in this instance, basketball. You can even add in all sports.
I mean, NIL is not really an issue in baseball, just because baseball is not college baseball is not a massive sport,
right?
In terms of college between the two. But
yeah,
I have to say, not letting your son have a choice, in this whole thing is kind of messed up.
Yeah. Well, and as I was talking to you off air a little bit, I was telling you how money is such a power-driven thing, right? It's not just athletics. It's it's life in general. If you have more money than the other person, you have, I guess, more power. I guess in a way. I don't. I mean, I don't. I don't like it when people try to use money as power because it's a resource, right? It's not
Where is BYU getting all this money from?
exactly where are they getting the money from? I would be because
They're paying a point guard $3.5 million. They're getting the number one recruit in the country for basketball. Where is the Mormon Trust Fund? I want a piece of it.
where's their sponsorship?
Where's the trust fund? I want to dip into some of those sponsors.
Yeah, but no, just like, and that's what I hate about like when it comes to football and basketball in this sense too. That because college shouldn't be about how much money you're getting. That's not that shouldn't that and that's where I think that the transfer portal and NIL is good, but like the money aspect of it all, that's where I think they've kind of screwed up. The NCAA has screwed up in that kind of way, just
Yeah.
because it's been more money driven and it hasn't been more of like, hey, I'm gonna go to a 4-year institution, whatever sport I play, in this case, football or basketball. I'm gonna let coaches help me develop my craft for 3 or 4 years, depending on how long it takes you to develop and maybe go to professionally. But also, you gotta also remember that you're a student athlete as well. Student comes first. You go to college to get an education. You're not going to be playing whatever sport you're going to be playing for the rest of your life, right? Eventually, it's going to come to an end, and that's just reality.
And
Um,
if you make enough money, I mean, and if you're taught basic money saving skills and investment
right,
type of skills,
right,
you won't have to work a single day in your life ever again.
right, and right, like what you said, there's
Shoot, with
some
these
cases,
tariffs, we might have to work, and they might have to work another day again.
but like, I mean, you go to I mean, you go to college to get an education, right? NIL and NIL and the money aspect. That's that's an addition, right? That shouldn't be why you're going to college. And I get like now if a college is offering you a scholarship, then that's awesome, right? There's benefits to that, but especially because especially if you're money driven and you want to get more money, if you want to earn more money in college by playing a sport, that just takes away from
Yeah, and I
a
also
lot of
want to tie
things.
this. Yeah, I also want to tie this into what it's going to be about. Is that it should parents really have the say, and sort of be the agent for their kid. Um, and this is where I think parents can become power hungry.
Well, I would also say though that um um you know parents, they for me in this case, I don't have a I don't have a problem at all with them trying to, if their kid needs to be in a different situation, they get them out of it or something. Because at the end of the day, I think maybe you might agree or not, but parents, they know their kid the best, right? I mean, they know their kid the best.
But shouldn't you
Yeah,
want, like, if your kid wants to stay at a certain school,
right.
shouldn't you let the kid stay and be happy? Like the Baylor player, like the kid wanted to stay. The kid didn't want to leave.
Yeah, and I totally get that. But also too, in that instance, do we really know any more information about obviously we understand the money situation, but is there more to that? Is there more that's not being told? And so you also have to account for that. Um,
And
but
there's also the issue with tampering, um,
yeah,
or players being tampered with before they're even in the portal,
right, right. That's exactly right.
which is something I actually did a slideshow on um,
Oh,
last semester. Um, sort of it breaks trust. It's a very ugly thing. It breaks trust with players, coaches.
Well, yeah, and going more here. Yeah, I'll let you finish. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I don't have anything
Oh,
else.
okay. Um, yeah, and like what you just said. Um, when you're getting, whatever in this, this you can involve every sport in this aspect, but like, any sport you play, when you're in high school, when a college is recruiting you or trying to get you to come to your school, you know, whoever you decide to go to, whatever school you decide to go to, you're making a commitment to, that program and those coaches who are trying to recruit you. You're making a commitment that you're saying, I want to be developed by these coaches because I feel like they have, not that other coaches don't have the best chance to develop them, but I have more, I feel, um, what's the word?
They're gonna give you the best chance to go pro. Is what
Right,
you're feeling like.
right. And so, like in this instance, basketball, if or football, whatever, if you're hopping into the transfer portal like that, and you know you're, and it hasn't even been a very long time. If you haven't even been at a university for what 2 years, right? And then you just hop into the portal. Obviously, there's obviously some disclosed information, or maybe some things you just don't know about. But you're kind of breaking that trust aspect of it too.
Yeah, the
You're not
trust is
you're not
trust is a
you're not
huge thing in this NIL era.
you're not
And
keeping your word.
going back to that Baylor player, and the culture that Baylor builds, for their basketball program, Coach Scott Drew goes by this acronym, the culture of joy: Jesus, others, yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And who wouldn't want to be a part of that culture? A lot of players are saying it is a life changing culture.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it is a life changing thing to be a part of, and it's a change for the greater good. So I don't understand any amount of money that could make you leave.
I don't, and frankly, I don't have the answer for that uh, other than it, how it's been in past cultures and societies, and even today, money is very power driven. Um, it can it can it can it can in a sense control people in a way. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that, but
I mean, it's exactly why so many people warn against the love of money. The
right.
the Bible itself even says that. Um, I mean, even outside of the Bible, people say that don't this money isn't going to satisfy you. Well,
Right. And I think, well, in this case too, money isn't there to, you know, try and, you know, um, money is a resource, right? It's meant to help us. It's meant to help us survive,
yeah,
because without money, we can't buy or sell anything. And what's that? What's that? That's, we can't live like without that.
no, you can't.
But
You can't. I mean, but money is yeah,
right.
but it's not. It's just something that's so. Is that too
Yeah.
much of it can corrupt a person? I've seen the greatest of people fall susceptible to this love of money, and it's just something
Yeah.
you can't shake. Once you get a lot of it, you just want to keep earning it.
Yeah. Yeah, but in this case too, the guy wanted to stay at Baylor. Um, Kudos to him. I don't know any more about I don't know any more information about he and his dad's conversations, obviously, but um, he didn't want to leave. It's kind of like the Luka situation in a way. Luka didn't want to leave, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to stay in Dallas for basically his entire career, right? But just things didn't shape out for him like that. But it happens, and sometimes things, sometimes plans change in a way you don't expect it to.
Yeah. And that's that Luka return was something I will mention a little later on briefly. It's something I want to mention inside the world of baseball. Some people say this might be cheating. The torpedo bats have a larger barrel than an average MLB bat, but it's still within regulation. And these torpedo bats were first discovered in a game where the Yankees hit 9 home runs in a game.
9 home runs in a row?
No, not in a row, but in a game.
Okay. I was like,
I
what?
think it broke a record.
Wow.
And it's taking the baseball world by storm. Top players are starting to use it. Players like Chaz Chisholm, Ellie De La Cruz. These players are starting to get a hold of the bat, and the results are eye popping.
Wow. Huh. Interesting. So you're saying that the bats have like is it narrower? Like does it have a
So there's a sweet spot of the bat you want to hit it, right? There's a certain part of the bat you want to hit it off of.
yeah, because
And
when you hit the
so
bat,
with the torpedo bat, that spot is just bigger, but it's still within regulation of MLB. And something I found fascinating: a NASA engineer made this bat.
really,
When science gets involved in baseball, I think we're in trouble.
or when science gets involved with any sport, we're in trouble.
To make any type of sports changing equipment.
But at the same time, it can be also helpful.
Yeah, it was MIT. It was an MIT professor. Yeah.
Wow. Well, the only thing I would say about that is because you said it's in regulation, right?
I mean,
So
yeah, but there's just it seems like there's this effect that it's having. It's something that would be a fly out to an outfielder is a home run right now with that torpedo bat with a normal bat. And then something that it's averaging maybe a mile and a half off the bat more.
really,
Yeah, I'm gonna explain something to you. I'm gonna explain a baseball thing to you.
all right, I'm ready. I'm here for it. I'm
So
ready.
exit velocity is how hard it is hit off the bat.
Exit velocity is how far you hit off the bat.
Yes.
Okay.
And compared to a regular bat, it is 71 70 is a traditional regular bat, and with this torpedo bat 71. And then this is like a traditional ground ball, whatever, line out, whatever. And
Yeah.
then the difference here's the difference. Here's the kicker right here. A 101 on a regular bat, a 101 mile per hour off the bat, and then 102 is the difference between a home run and a flyout.
Wait, say that one more time.
So usually
Yeah.
what it's saying is this ball that's typically hit 101 off the bat, it typically stays in the ballpark. It's typically caught by a defender.
So what you're saying is when they hit the ball, it's going 100 miles per hour.
I mean, a lot of pro baseball players can hit it 100 off the bat
Oh, I
because that's
bet.
how good of
Yeah.
athletes they are. But
Yeah.
this is the difference between it being an out and it being a home run. There's significantly more home runs with this torpedo bat.
So it's okay. So it's
technically all exit velo is the ball is being hit a whole lot harder. Exit velo is just another way of tracking how hard that ball is hit.
well, I mean, again, if it's in the MLB regulation and if it's allowed, then I don't see. I mean, I guess there would be debate about it, but if it as long as it follows the rules. Now, can people sometimes try and get around the rules and try and rig stuff? Yeah, we see it happen. But I mean, if they're following the rules, there's nothing really you can do about it unless it gets like, I guess, out of hand, or if they're really finding more stuff about it.
I mean, it's not a massive difference in how hard it's hit, but the real complaint is what would normally be an out, right? Because I mean, the sweet spot's a little bit lower on the bat.
On the
Torpedo
bat.
Yeah, it's a little bit lower. So instead of on a regular bat, like you sort of getting jammed, like on a swing.
Yeah.
It's a line drive, base hit, or a home run.
And on a regular bat, because when you're swinging, isn't the sweet spot like kind of like in the not in the middle, but like
it's like
if you have
near the end of the bat. Like it's almost like
yeah
it's not the end of the bat, but it's like 3/4, 3/5 of the way up.
right yeah.
I mean, I wish I had my bat in here to show you, but that'll be a demonstration for another time. But yeah, it's just something that's been interesting in pitchers and everybody. There's a lot of people complaining about it right now in the world of sports, on whether it should be legal or not, just because of how more often these hits are getting squared up and the balls getting hit a whole lot harder.
Well, I mean,
yeah. So
I did, like, because this came out on ESPN 2 days ago, so this is fairly new. So
I mean, yeah, it was used the second game of the season. We're only about 10 games through the season to about 12 games through the season now.
do you know who the first player was or the first team? No, was it the
Is the Yankees?
Right? Yeah.
I gotta take you to a baseball game, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just never I don't know. I don't want to say the game's boring at all, but
it's a lot faster now. It's a lot faster now.
Yeah, I would say so too. I mean, because I remember I went to a Rangers game when I was younger, and
it was a lot slower. Now the game time has been cut from like 3 hours, usually on average, to now about 2.5. So it's moving a whole lot faster. There's a whole lot more action in the game.
I just remember watching.
I gotta take you to a game.
I was just like, man,
y'all
love them. Actually, I have a story. I'll share it real fast. So when I was in elementary school, they did these nominations of if you're being like a overachiever or whatever, like those kinds of awards by the district. Like your grades are good, you're a good student, all that.
If this video gets 5 likes, I'll take Drew to a baseball game.
And you know what's gonna happen? Your good old little bro Caleb's gonna put five likes on this video, or 5 comments, to make it seem like it's 5 likes or whatever.
Okay, I will regulate that. I'll make sure it's not all him. I'll make sure if it gets more than 5 likes from other people, great. Shoot, if it gets if it gets up to 10, I'll take him to a Rangers game. I just said baseball game. If it gets all the way up to 10, Rangers
Yeah.
game. 5, just regular baseball game in the area.
Or just comment, should Drew go to a Rangers baseball game? Yes or no?
Yes.
You should do like a poll on Instagram or something.
Yeah, we'll pull on Instagram, just because I'm going to be in the area pretty soon. Actually, in about a month, I'll be in the area for a Rangers game. So,
Hmm.
so we'll see. Anyway,
Yeah.
so moving on to our next topic that I talked with him behind camera with is that Luka played his first game in Dallas since being a Laker.
Yeah.
And you can just see that face during the tribute video. He was very emotional. He wasn't gonna leave his whole career. He wasn't gonna leave. He wasn't gonna leave Dallas.
Wasn't there a sorry wasn't there a commercial or something that he wasn't a big fan of?
Yeah, there was a Gatorade commercial, and the letters spelled traitor. That was sort of a message to the GM.
Oh.
and right before the game, and he no love lost type of thing. But I saw this tweet. I'm sure you remember Trae Young, the basketball player.
Trae Young.
He
What
played
team
for
did he play?
Oklahoma. Really good point guard.
Sounds familiar. I probably know him.
And he tweeted out, and I just found this tweet phenomenal. Is that when he sort of replied to a post that said, like when Luka was crying, they saw a post of Luka crying. They said he said this guy was never going to leave Dallas. And I don't think he was going to leave Dallas either.
Yeah. I don't think for especially the general manager for the Mavericks, that trade that they made with Luka, I don't think he's ever going to recover from that.
Well, here's the thing: the whole stadium was chanting "Fire Nico." That's the GM's name, Nico Harrison. They were chanting that whole thing. They were chanting that.
How much has the attendance dropped?
I know ticket prices are going up, and I don't know if anybody's going to buy tickets anymore.
Yeah, because last night was probably one of their highest, maybe.
Yeah, probably one of their highest grossing games in terms of ticket sales.
Yeah.
But it's just a sad thing. And you know who Mark Cuban is off of Shark Tank. He used to own the Mavericks.
Did he? Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He sold the Mavericks because he wasn't making any money off of them. He wanted so he sold the team to a different ownership group. And this is how the whole really landslide of the trade really happened, because Mark Cuban said he would have divorced his wife before he would have traded Luka Doncic. He said, I'd be at the divorce courts right now. And that just shows how pivotal of a player he is.
That's funny.
It shows how amazing of a player he was for the city of Dallas. Maybe if that ownership group is gone, he'll come back. But as of right now, Arlington, Dallas sports fans really got to move on and just root for the guy any way you can.
I do have a question for you, though. Do you think at any point in Luka's career, do you think Luka could ever come back? Like,
if the GM and the ownership group is gone.
You think, well, Luka, yeah, because Luka didn't want to leave.
No, he didn't.
So, but then you would also have to trade somebody else, though.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see the vision from the GM because they got a player that was so much older. But
yeah, who's had a lot of injuries.
he just came back from an injury. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
I want to see if you have any more topics for today. Anything else really catching your eye as of late?
Oh, I don't know if you saw this. This is kind of shifting gears a little bit, but did you see that EA announced that the new college football game is coming out? I think July 18th.
Ooh, it's coming out early this year.
Or I think that's the official date. Actually, let me check.
Oh,
I
it's coming
think
out
that
early.
I think that's what they said. Um, college. I think that's what they said. College football. Oh, and they announced that mascot mode will be in it.
Oh, mascot mashup. Well, yeah.
Let's see. So EA Sports. Hang on.
Yeah, I've seen clips of Chris Fowler recording clips.
You know what's funny about that? I watched a little reel on Instagram, and he was talking, and the people on EA Sports, they weren't criticizing him, but they were saying that he needed to be like like more
Authentic.
energetic.
Oh man, what? I thought he was amazing in this past game.
I thought he was too. I didn't.
I mean, okay, so my dad is definitely not the biggest fan of Kirk Herbstreit. At least the way he sees college football. Um,
I've always had mixed feelings about him. I think Lee Corso needs to retire.
I wish Lee Corso would announce a game instead of just doing college football. Game day. I wish he would announce a game or two because that might be pretty entertaining.
Lee Corso, yeah. He's almost what? Is he almost like 90 years old?
Dang near.
Let's see. Let me search it up. Lee Corso. Let's see. I think he's almost like the man's 89 years old.
Yeah. He just
89
keeps
years
going,
old.
doesn't he?
I guess so. But I think he was the head coach at Indiana, like in the
Okay,
70s
to
or
be
so.
fair, yeah, he was. But to be fair, the college football game last year was released July 19th, 2024.
So just
So,
one day.
yeah. So maybe it's just a 1 day difference.
Yeah. What are your what do you think they should put in the new game?
I think they should have High School Road to Glory.
High school rule. Yeah, because when I played 14, I loved the going from the high school, climbing up the ranks to then, getting recruited.
Yeah, that was something that I saw that I really liked, but
Do
wasn't
you
put in
think?
this game.
Yeah. Do you think not? It's probably not going to be in this game, but in like future games. Do you think EA should put actual college football, like real life college football coaches, like Kirby Smart in
I
there,
think
or
they're gonna try to do that this next game. I think they're trying.
I think that'd be really interesting. And the question for me would be, because I would think the coaches would also get something out of that too. They would
I
have
mean,
to.
here before the 25 game was even made, Lane Kiffin said he'd be in the game for free.
He'd be in the game for. Of course, Lane Kiffin would say that. He says a lot, dude. Some of the comments that he makes are so funny. He's not necessarily Mike Leach funny, but he's like he's pretty good. He's funny.
Golly, do I miss that Mike Leach guy?
The good old pirate.
I miss him. I miss the Pirate. Swing your sword. Man, that Texas Tech team was something else, wasn't it?
Dude, did you ever see um, that press conference where he talked about like people's girlfriends and stuff?
There was an interview I saw. He talked about Halloween candy. He's like, I love these Nerds gummies clusters.
Yeah, and then there was one when he was at Mississippi State after he beat A&M. Funny how I remember that. There was a reporter, and she's like, "So coach, I'm getting married like in like a couple months or whatever." And he was like, and she was like, "What do you suggest?" And he was like, "Well, this day and age, a lot of people get an elope," which was hilarious. And he was like, because really, when you look at today's economy, you know, you really need to be careful with what you do with how you grow a family. Dude, it was hilarious. You gotta search that up. It was hilarious.
Rest in peace to the pirate.
And then another core memory, Mike Leach. There was one video where I think Texas Tech lost a game, and he was ranting to his players that this ain't no 11-2 team like we had Michael Crabtree and all those guys when we beat Texas back in 2008. Y'all didn't do so I don't get censored. Y'all didn't do the S word. Y'all didn't do crap. Michael Crabtree made that play. This person made that play. We lost to freaking Texas A&M. It was hilarious. We lost to freaking Baylor. And then we come on the road, and then we decide to lay a goose egg and lose to Texas. What the heck is this crap? So no. And he was like, he was basically saying that they were terrible. It was rough.
Jeez. And I remember this college game day interview that he had, where he walked when he was at Washington State. He walked to class.
He walked to class.
He walked to campus. He walked to his office. Anyway.
Yeah, no, he's funny.
I don't.
Huh?
Yeah. I don't know if we have anything particular else to talk about. I don't really know any other relevant sports world stuff going on.
Yeah.
But if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You know, I'd love for this channel to grow.
Oh, and do you want to tell them about maybe we might be changing the name of the channel or whatever?
And there could be a potential rebrand, since we're not always talking about ball. We're talking about other stuff parts of the time too. Faith-based stuff. We don't want this channel to be one-dimensional. There could be a potential name change. If y'all have a name change that y'all think would be good, drop that in the comments below too. We might use that. But without further ado, I am Ethan Mailer signing off.
And before we sign off, we've been having discussions about the faith-based stuff, and we've been talking about, you know, would it be cool to maybe talk about Jesus' second coming or whatever, and, you know, end time prophecy. And so, you know, we've been discussing.
That's a preview for next episode. Don't tell them too much. Let them speculate.
Nope.
Leave them on a cliffhanger.
Yep.
And this is Ethan Mailer signing off for the second time. So long.
See ya.